And to be at Government House in Canberra is special. And ladies and gentlemen, to formally welcome you, I ask His Excellency General, the Honourable David Hurley, AC, DSC retired, to please welcome you to this very special event. Your Excellency.
Well, David, thank you very much for a very warm welcome, and Linda and I are delighted to be able to share with you at Government House today a very particular and special occasion in the life of Rotary, both here in Australia and New Zealand, and of course internationally for the broader organisation. I begin by acknowledging that Government House here in Canberra sits on the land of the Ngunnawal people, and I thank them for looking after this beautiful part of our country so well over generations and generations, and pay respect to their elders past and present. Could I also acknowledge the Honourable Alex Hawke MP, who will be joining us virtually for this gathering today, Mr Gary Brown AM, the Chair of the Centenary of Rotary Australia project, Ms Fatima Ali, the President of Rotary Club of Sydney, of which I was the great fortune to be an honorary member whilst I was the Governor of New South Wales, Ms Marion McLeod down in Melbourne, the President of Rotary Club of Melbourne, to our Rotary District Governors, Club Presidents, Rotarians, all those who have joined us today, welcome. As ambassadors of Rotary, of course, Linda and I are delighted to share this occasion with you, and particularly with our friends across the ditch in New Zealand. 100 years, of course, is a milestone in any organisation's life, and it's certainly a cause of celebration. But as is the way with Rotary, it's not just celebration in looking back, you are always looking forward. And that's very much the theme of this centenary. Now, normally on occasions like this, we'd like to gather you all in the house here, share the good time together, be able to chat, meet, and get that energy going. Of course, we can't do that, so we're going to have the virtual energy today, and thankfully we have the technology to do that, and thank all those in the back of the room who have helped us put it together. In preparing for this event, I came across two descriptions of a typical Rotarian that was given in 1921. A Rotarian is a go-getter and a practical idealist. Now, if you put those descriptions together in the context of Rotary's work in the community and how you go about doing your work, I think implied in those descriptions are the following characteristics. You have a positive attitude, there's a preparedness to think big and not to be afraid of tackling big projects, and there's ability to see a project through to the end. When I look at what Rotary has achieved in the first 100 years and its projects currently underway, it's clear to me that the descriptions of a Rotarian in 1921 really hold true today. Someone who dreams big, achieves much, and makes an outstanding contribution to our relevant societies. Rotarians live and breathe community. They are dependable, they're selfless, and they want to make the world a better place. Now, coincidentally, this morning I was preparing some work for the Prince's Trust, which I'm engaged with here in Australia. And while I was doing that, I was watching a video that His Royal Highness Prince Charles made a couple of months ago about current situation and what his trust is doing. In that, he used a term that really grabbed me and I thought was relevant today, where he said, we shouldn't let our current circumstances define the prospects of a generation. They shouldn't define the prospects of a generation. And how apt is that for Rotary, where Rotary sees broad needs. So in the fields of water security, education, agriculture, health, you have not let the conditions that people might find themselves define them as human beings or indeed as a generation. Two examples, of course, of your centenary goals. To end infectious eye disease, trachoma, in Australia, and we know that is very prevalent in high rates amongst our Indigenous communities. And secondly, with the support of UNICEF, to provide life-saving vaccines to over 100,000 children in 9 Pacific nations. These are big dreams, big projects, and being worked on, though, in a big way. And can I add, with a big heart, which is just as important, or even more so. So you don't want to let current conditions define the future of generations or their prospects. in relation to the pandemic and how it's affected us at the moment. Linda and I have travelled around Australia during the back end of during all the bushfire periods, the back end as it tailed into the pandemic period. We've spoken to quite a number of organisations around the country while our travel's been limited. And what I can say is that Rotary has been on the ground in our communities where Australians need you most. You have made a very positive difference to the life of people who have been adversely affected by bushfires or are suffering because of the lockdown requirements of the COVID-19 pandemic. You are an inspiring organisation. They sound little words, but they mean a lot. You are an inspiring organisation. And in challenging times, it's important for countries to have organisations like this that work at the ground level with our people to help them along. You have done a lot of good for both our countries, Australia and New Zealand. So, not letting current circumstances define our prospects, not letting solvable problems define our prospects is what you are about. So as your Rotarians across Australia and New Zealand think about the past, I know many are working on centenary projects for this period, but also will be looking forward to what comes in the next 100 years. And I'm guaranteed, knowing the people involved in Rotary, there will be another 100 years. This will not stop, because big hearts don't stop beating. So Linda and I, as I say, delighted to be here with you today to share a very special occasion, part of the handing over the baton to start the processes for a centenary, always important, and follows a lot of traditions that we're used to in our broader life here in Australia and the Commonwealth. So congratulations. Again, a joy to be sharing the occasion with you. I'm afraid I can't sing like Leo, though I did tap my feet and nod my head. Yeah, I think Leo is sort of exemplifies in many, many respects what you're about. Joy, a real love of life, a big heart, and contributing all the time. So thank you and welcome.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much to our Governor-General for that inspiring speech. And Your Excellency, it's not on the running sheet, but I think I should mention, obviously all Australians know of your very distinguished career within the Defence Force. And right now, I just publicly, on behalf of all Rotarians, like to thank all our Defence Force personnel across Australia and across the world at the moment, helping out in this very difficult time. And we are so blessed to have magnificent leadership. And Your Excellency, thank you for your wonderful leadership in the Defence Forces and your continuing role as Governor-General.